content out of Texas, a very horrific story of a young woman who was deserted, mistreated, abused, neglected in her own home by her mother and relatives. Yes, I'm throwing them in there as well. She was an autistic female, and it is believed that she was starved to death. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time.
North Texas mother is behind bars right now following the disturbing death of her autistic teenage daughter. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Casey Stiegel. That investigation is underway in Balch Springs, where police say they were called to this home for a medical emergency more than a week ago. When first responders got there, they found 19-year-old Delilah Villegas dead inside a bedroom. According to detectives, the girl was emaciated and covered in wounds. Now her mother is facing at least one criminal charge. Fox 4's Amelia Jones spoke with the victim's family today and also has new updates tonight from police.
Hello,
she's live now with more. Amelia.
Casey, Balch Springs police said they're still trying to figure out a time frame of when Delilah Villegas died. Her aunt told me today she couldn't help but blame herself for not calling police when she had a gut feeling that something was wrong. How? That question has kept Yahaira Pardo up at night after learning the details of the death of her 19-year-old niece, Delilah Villegas.
It's heartbreaking.
Villegas was nonverbal and autistic. Balch Springs police say on Valentine's Day, Villegas' mother called 911 to report that her daughter was not breathing. But when officers arrived, they found Villegas had already died.
We know that she was deceased minimally 4 hours because of the rigor mortis had set in, and but we can't get a correct time frame. We've asked the medical examiner's office, and they actually said between 6 to 24 hours.
Police say Villegas was found inside this home on Horseshoe Trail, lying in the fetal position with visible wounds and sores. Officers could tell that she was severely malnourished.
Originally, when the officers arrived, they thought she was probably 13 and didn't realize she was 19 years old.
Her mother, 41-year-old Crystal Canales, told police she didn't call for help because Villegas would often become violent towards others. Pardo never knew her niece to be violent, but did say that the last time she saw her was in 2019 at Villegas' dad's, Pardo's brother's, funeral.
My mom and my sister did see her in 2021, and it was at her oldest sister's graduation. She was perfectly fine, healthy, didn't seem like anything was wrong.
From 2021 on, Pardo would get updates from Villegas' older sister who moved to Fort Worth. Pardo can't help but blame herself for not listening to her gut.
I do say that I have a blame in all this and where we at right now. And why? Because I had a gut feeling that something was wrong.
The medical examiner has not released an official cause of death, but on Friday, Canales was arrested and charged with serious bodily injury to a disabled person, which is a second-degree felony. Villegas' grandmother and great-uncle also lived inside the home. According to the arrest affidavit, her grandmother told police she hadn't seen Villegas for weeks, and her great-uncle hadn't seen her for about a year, even though they lived in the same house. Pardo wishes someone would have reached out to police or to her for help.
If you knew that something was wrong or you haven't seen Delilah in months, everything from the beginning to the very end is wrong.
Villegas loved to play outside and organize her stuffed animals. That is how Pardo wants to remember her, happy with a smile on her face.
Okay, where I have a problem is the obvious. 2 other adults were living in this house allegedly, so I'm going to ask all the pertinent questions. How many adults lived in the house besides the young girl? 2 other people were living there, a grandmother and a great uncle. I'm assuming that's the grandmother's brother. How is it that you all did not know there was a young girl in a room sleeping on a concrete floor with blankets being malnourished, and I would assume abused physically. How did you not know that? They say the girl was verbal. So help me understand. She can moan, she can make sounds, especially if somebody's beating her up, hurting her. So what was going on in the room, Mom? You were covering her face with a pillow while you were hurting her, beating her, whatever the hell you were doing to her. Then you weren't feeding her because law officials thought she was 13, but she's actually 19 years of age. So now we got two adults alongside the mother in this house with a abused young person. Literally grown. Different people are speaking out. This aunt, when was the last time you saw her? Why didn't you visit? Where do you live actually? Because everybody's talking in circles. You're talking about who last saw her at somebody's birthday party, graduation. When did you last see her? When did you last go to that house where she stayed and walked in the door and sat in the living room, front porch, back porch? That's what I'm on. I don't want to hear about somebody else when they last saw her. When did you last see her? Why aren't you visiting your sister's house with her? You didn't find it strange she doesn't post pictures of her on the internet? See, everybody stays on the internet. As I said about the 3 kids in Pontiac, Michigan, that mother was all over the internet, but she didn't post those kids because they were filled with shit and fecal matter on their faces and clothes. So definitely she wasn't going to be posting those kids. So I want to know if the 41-year-old mom was on Snapchat, Twitter, X, whatever, IG, Facebook. Is that what we're going to find out? She was all over Facebook, minus that kid. Help me understand.
To know that she's in the hands of God and that she is with my brother at peace in his arms. Yeah. That's what gives me comfort.
And while she believes that there is no justice for Villegas' death, she's going to do everything she can to make sure people remember her life.
That everyone does know that Delilah was here. She was alive. She was present.
Balch Springs police said they did a welfare check at the home in May 2021 and everyone was healthy. When officers found Villegas, they reported there was food in the home and the house was in order. Police said everyone they interviewed spoke positively about Canales and Villegas. Police are still investigating to figure out how things got to this point. Right now, it's unclear if anybody else will be charged in this case. Casey.
All right. So why was there a wellness check in 21? It's now 2025. See, this goes back to what I was saying earlier when I did my Sebastian Rogers video. Please check out that video. 2 videos were done earlier today. Check out both live streams. Because I mentioned this case during the Sebastian Rogers live, both lives. Always the same MO. Well, DHS stopped by. Somebody called DHS. Now we have a whole dead person. Oh, everything was fine in 2021. Well, we're not in 2021. We're not in 2019. So were you all close or not? The lady who was speaking in this video. Were you close to your sister? Are you close? Let me use present tense. Are you close to your sister, sister-in-law, whoever the hell she is to you? Obviously not. Because you're talking about who last saw her, which means you ain't seen her. Well, Pookie seen her and Shamiqua saw her and, Victoria saw her. I ain't seen her. Well, if we want to hear from them, we'll go talk to them. Yeah, I'm on one today because I'm sick of this shit. This is every waking damn day. What did I just say about the Pontiac case? There are other children, adults, somewhere held up in a house, living the same way or similar way, held hostage, unfed, unclothed, and somebody knows about it. Ding, ding, ding. It wasn't even a whole week. I just did a live about this. Now we're in Texas talking about the same damn thing. She's curled up in a ball, been dead at least 4 to 24 hours. They don't really know. Rigor mortis had set in. Outline of her body was on the pavement. I'm going to say pavement because her room was concrete. She had a concrete floor. Where's the carpeting? Ding, ding, ding. Were you all remodeling? Help me understand. How long was the girl dead? How long has she been starved? How long has she been abused? Let me guess, you're going to tell us, well, she's autistic and she fights and she becomes combative. She don't like to eat. Well, that's the same thing that family said down in, what was that? Down in, what's that? Louisiana, excuse me. She didn't like to eat. Oh, okay. So you just going to let the damn girl starve? A grown-ass 30-something-year-old woman? Emaciated. They found her melted into the couch. Remember that story I brought you last year? Was in the cushions. The little girl, well, I call her a little girl. She's a grown woman, but her body was melted into the yellow foam of the leather sofa. Now you imagine that. Hair matted to her head. It's mixed into the fabric of the sofa. So we're talking about a human being that basically meshed into a leather sofa and cushion. You can't make this shit up. She don't want to eat. She's combative. Well, maybe you should send her somewhere. Just gonna let her starve to death. Oh, rats running around the house. Nice. Woo, boy. Go figure. Always a nice house, is it not? Oh, they're church people. They go to church. Well, they hadn't been taking her to church because she was dissolving into the sofa. Now we're in Texas. State over. 19-year-old girl child, nobody's seen her. Nobody in the house has seen her. Grandmother says she hasn't seen her in weeks, and the uncle, I haven't seen her in a year. Are y'all hearing this? You all gonna go on record saying this shit? And let me guess, you're gonna go to court and cry and say, I'm elderly, I'm sick, I got dementia. Oh, you ain't got no damn dementia. Both of you giving two different versions. What version is the mother gonna give for why her child is abused, got wounds on her? Let me guess, you're gonna tell us she banged herself around. She did that to herself. She did that to herself. She's mean. She did that to herself. She's combative. She's a combative, autistic, nonverbal kid. She did that to herself. She banged herself around. And she wouldn't eat either. Why didn't you call the ambulance, ma'am? Oh, because she liked to fight. Well, how did she get starved? You ain't got an answer for that now, do you? Right. Let's go to another interview pertaining to this young lady, teenager, however you want to word it. Some people say 18 is grown. This is some utter nonsense once again. Everybody playing crazy. Latest update pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. His lawyers are asking the judge to suppress the evidence seized by the search warrants to his Miami home and Los Angeles home. They say the search warrants were unconstitutional. Do you agree? Disagree? Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 wow. What a hot butter mess. I didn't know she was in there. Oh, she was living in that room? Yeah, she was in there. Dead. She sure was.
Balch Springs police say a mother called into her home reporting her daughter, who had autism, had trouble breathing. They arrived in to find that girl's body. They say there were signs that she was malnourished and she was covered in injuries. The mother is 41-year-old Crystal Canales, now behind bars. Police say she gave an excuse for why she did not seek medical care for her daughter, but police say they're not buying it. Fox 4's Casey Stiegel live at the Balch Springs PD with the investigation. Casey.
Yeah, Heather, Balch Springs police uncovering this shocking case of abuse and neglect involving a 19-year-old woman who family members say was severely autistic. And tonight, her mother is behind bars facing charges in her death. On this quiet street in an unassuming neighborhood, folks living along Horseshoe Drive tell Fox 4 they never could have imagined the horrors that police say were going on in this little blue house.
Yeah, it's very sad to hear that. I mean, because They seemed like decent people, They didn't seem like they was doing anything wrong.
It was Valentine's Day when police say they received a 911 call from this address, a woman saying her daughter was having trouble breathing. When first responders got there, they found 19-year-old Delilah Villegas in a bedroom. But investigators say the girl had already been dead, anywhere from 6 to 24 hours earlier. According to police, there was an outline of her body on the concrete floor, indicating she had been there for a long period of time.
In class with her.
Anthony Johnson lives right next door. He says his brother went to high school with Villegas, who family members say was autistic and nonverbal. Police say she was severely malnourished, was covered in sores. Some of her bones were even exposed.
I'm a new parent myself. I have a 1-year-old daughter. She doesn't have any special needs, but there's nothing in the world I wouldn't do for that little girl.
Cops say the victim's mother, 41-year-old Crystal Canales, admitted she didn't seek medical attention, claiming it would cause her daughter to become violent. On Friday, 1 week later, Canales was arrested and charged with causing serious bodily injury to a disabled person under her care, a second-degree felony. Meantime, those who call Horseshoe Drive home, like Rochelle Stewart, are trying to come to terms with what went down right next door.
I don't know very much about them, but I just see them. I didn't even know they had a daughter.
So relatives tell us there are other family members that live inside that home. Today, when we knocked on the door, nobody answered. Tomorrow, police are expected to hold a press conference and give more information about this horrible case.
Okay, so guess what? Y'all gonna go down too. How about that? Because you're not gonna explain to a detectives, why you are in a house with someone who's being malnourished, mistreated, abused, and then they're later dead. Help us understand. What is it that you're going to say to the detective? I didn't know what was going on, but you live here. You can't even lie and say you just moved in 1 day before she was found dead. Try again. It's not going to work. So how long have all these people been living in the same house? They say there was food in the house. Everything looked normal in the house except for this dead person. So excuse me for saying 4 hours dead. She was dead between 6 hours and 24 hours. How long was the child dead? You're also going to hear information that the mother said she was feeding her little, what do you call those things? The little fish crackers, cheese crackers. Oh, she was eating those a couple of hours before I called 911. Are you sure? Are you hearing this bullshit? She was eating crackers. Well, let me think about that for a second. When did dead people start eating food? Help me understand. Come on, lady. She was eating fish crackers. So how was she eating the crackers? And she's been dead at least 6 hours. I'll wait. So this is a new phenomenon. Dead people can eat cheese crackers. How about that? Did you hear what I said? Dead people can eat cheese crackers. Hell, I guess they even can turn a cartwheel. I don't know. Maybe we should go to the cemetery and check out the graves and see who's come out of the grave eating cheese crackers, turning cartwheels, and so on and so forth. Stop this nonsense. You fucked up, lady. And then guess what? When the police arrived, ding, 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 ambulance, whomever, it had a stench in there. So we're talking 6 to 24 hours. You now know it don't take long for a body to start to smell. And you didn't think the police and the ambulance were people going to say, hey, it smells in here. And you're still going to try to say, oh, she was eating cheese crackers a couple hours before I called 911. Well, she's eating cheese crackers and she's dead, and she also stinks. Are you serious? And you know when rigor mortis sets in, the body is stiff. She's mummified. And you're still going to tell the police, oh, she was all right when I last checked on her. And then the other two people that live in the house, I didn't know she was in there. You didn't know she was in there? Oh, you couldn't smell that she was in there? Because the officials say she smelled. When they got to the house, you could smell death. But you didn't know she was in there. You didn't smell a dead body. Okay. Let's hear from the sheriff, everybody. Police, chief, or whoever. This is ridiculous. This is what's going on in America. These quaint little streets. Quiet little streets, black lady talking, oh, I didn't know they had a daughter. Well, you know now. You know now. You now know. There was a young girl living. See, this is what happens. Nobody knows anything. Just like Pontiac, Michigan. Nobody knew that 3 children were living in a condo in a shit-filled condo.
Today we're here to discuss an incident that occurred on February 14th in the city of Box Springs. On February 14th, about 2:33 p.m., the Box Springs Communication Division received a 911 call in reference to a female who was unresponsive and not breathing. The caller who called in was her mother. The mother's name is Crystal Canales. And so when the fire department and the paramedics showed up, they stated that there was going to be a CPR in progress, which means that they start administering CPR on the victim. Unfortunately, because of the position and the condition that the victim was, they did not start on the CPR and call the Box Springs Police Department. We responded and observed the victim in a room, curled up, and she was deceased. We know that she was deceased minimally 4 hours because of the rigor mortis had set in, and but we can't get a.
When they opened the door and saw the child curled up, was she covered with a blanket, cover, throw, head on a pillow? What was the situation of the body? Curled up on the concrete only? Padding under her, no padding? On a blanket, no blanket? Blanket on the body, no cover? I want to know, was the child covered up? Was she cold? What happened in that room?
Correct time frame. We've asked the medical examiner's office, and they actually said between 6 to 24 hours. The detectives with the Box Springs Police Department were called to respond to the scene and begin the investigation. During that investigation, things were collected, pictures were taken, and we actually made it into a crime scene.
Wow.
At that time, we started interviewing the family members, who was the mother and also the grandmother of the victim, and who were at the location. On 2/21 of 2025, the Box Springs Police Department executed a search. On 2/21/2025, the Box Springs Police Department executed a arrest warrant on Crystal Canales, and right now we are still awaiting transfer to the Dallas County Jail.
Chief, help Queen understand why it took you so long to issue a warrant. Valentine's Day is the 14th, last I checked. The 21st, that's 7 days later. You let her walk around for 7 days. Why? Help the queen understand. Help me understand how the fire department goes into the house, smells death, can't perform CPR because she's dead. Duh. Rigor mortis is set in. Take her out of there, and you let the mama walk free for 7 days. Is that what you're saying to me? Exactly. Same day. Why did it take you all a week to serve this woman an arrest warrant? You need to think about the charges. It didn't take the medical examiner a week to decide that she was starved to death, that she had been physically assaulted. Now, come on now. We got to do better than this. You can make up charges as you go along. But ain't no way she should have been walking around free no whole damn week. And we've heard of these crazy ass cases where it's visible that the person has been abused and murdered, okay? There is no dancing around the subject. We're not talking about finding bones in a box, bones in a shed. You got a whole living creature lying on the floor, and you let her walk free for 7 days. She could have been anywhere. Now, what if she had took off, went on the run, went underground? This is appalling to me. No, sister, we going to hold you here in this jail. We going to hold you. Now, I don't know what Texas law is, but we would have played Texas Hold'em. Did you hear what I said? No, sister, you going to sit right here. And whoever else is in the house, grandma, uncle, your ass going to jail too. Because you were right there and you were in the house with her. Crazy. Oh, I didn't know she was in there. Well, what did you thought was growing in there? Plants? Man, I'm pissed off. I'm royally pissed off right now. Because we got 3 adults in the house with a malnourished, abused, autistic, nonverbal female. And don't nobody know nothing. Okay.
Crystal was arrested for serious bodily injury to a disabled person, and it is a second-degree felony.
That's all you could come up with for a whole week.
I guess some of us saw the severity of how Delilah was found. Can you kind of describe that
Lord,
severity of what investigators saw when they found her?
Originally, when the officers arrived, they thought she was probably 13 and didn't realize she was 19 years old. It was, as described, skin to bone. There was large lacerations, exposing decaying limbs. Even some of the bones from her shoulder, and on her arm, and her leg.
Jesus.
She looked like she was in a mummified.
I can't do this.
In a mummy state of.
I can't do this. This is why I don't talk about children cases on the network anymore. This right here. This right here is what I'm talking about. He can't even describe her. Because this is how bad she looked. And you let this heifer walk free for 7 days. You were being kind to her to give her 7 versus what she did to her own child. Are you serious? It took you 7 days to decide a fucking charge. Oh my goodness. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Man, I'm gone.
On the floor. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry. And
Put your phone down, sir.
she was just in a curled up position on the floor, and it was just unrecognizable for a 19-year-old to be in that position.
How long would you say it took for her to get to that state? The amount of time it took?
We don't know. We don't even have a time frame. We've spoken with several doctors and medical examiner's office, and we have, at this time, we don't have an idea.
Well, just say 7 days.
They're still running tests to see how long it took from, to get to that point.
There were other family members living in the house as well?
Correct. The mother, the grandmother of the victim, and the great uncle.
Oh my God.
Will grandmother and great uncle be facing any charges?
At this time, I'm not in the position to speculate if anything is going to happen to anyone else, but we're still continuing our investigation.
Yeah.
And we will execute and interview as many people to figure out what happened.
7 more days
to get to this point.
And they're free.
The press release also mentioned the victim had a severe case of autism. Did that play any factor into how this played out?
The victim was nonverbal, and so there were times where she became extremely violent, punching, hitting, kicking family members. There was also an incident where she had an altercation on a school bus, but we're still investigating on that incident. But other family members did confirm that our victim was very aggressive towards family members, and sometimes they would be discouraged to interact with our victim.
Now, it has been said about autism that the individuals can become very violent. So let me guess. This is going to be the excuse the mother is going to give. Well, she was so violent that I couldn't go in to feed her, bring her to the table to eat. She wouldn't eat. So I just shut the door and leave her in there. Is that what we're going to hear? That is going to be the mother's defense. I say yes. That's going to be her defense. She was so violent and disruptive that we just left her in there. She wouldn't eat. She'd throw her food, kick at us, scratch at us, blah, 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 fight me. She has wounds on her because I was having to defend myself to fight her back. Well, then maybe you should have placed her somewhere else. And I'm not saying she could have gotten any better care, but I'm just saying. When it's to that point, if this is true, you should have called Department of Human Services and told them that you could no longer take care of Delilah because she was too combative and had become violent. And then they would have given you the resources or taken her into their care, adult protective services, whichever, and placed her somewhere. But I'm sure you were getting a disability check for Delilah. Come on with it, Queen. Were you not? So you were getting a disability check and said the hell with it. We'll just shut the door. She can't holler, she can't scream, and we will just let her have at it. We're not going to worry about getting her adequate help, medication, whatever it is that could possibly help calm her mood swings. We'll just let her die in there. And that's exactly what happened. You are guilty either way because 1, she didn't ask to be here. 2, she didn't choose you as a mother. 3, she didn't choose to be autistic. That's not her fault. And she possibly was violent. I don't know. I'm not there. All I'm saying, there comes a point when you have to get off your lazy ass and say, I have lost control of the situation and I have to do what I need to do to get this person help. And you did not do that. And now everybody's sitting around running to the news, giving their version of what they saw the last time. She was happy-go-lucky. She looked healthy. Well, is she healthy now? Is she healthy now? No, she's dead now. So she ain't healthy now. I don't want to hear about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago. I could care less. We're not talking about 5 years ago, 4 years ago. We're talking about right fucking now. You have to go get help. You can't just let the person die.
Springs Police Department had any other interaction with the victim or the family over prior years? Mentioned the school bus incident.
The only incident that we had where we responded, or the last time we responded, was May of 2021, and it was just a welfare check. And so we went in there, and everyone was fine, everyone was healthy, and there was no signs or issues at that time that led to something to this.
I noticed you.
See, talking in circles once again. May 2021, that will be 4 years this May. Why were you there, sir? Why was Department of Human Services there or the police there? Why were they called? Is it because of this bus incident? I don't understand what you're saying. Fuck. Why were you there? Bus incident or another incident? Oh, everybody was fine. Well, is everybody fine now? Because we're down 2. One's in jail and one's dead. Hello. Ding dong, the witch is dead. We're 2-0 right now, Chief. Aren't y'all hearing the same bullshit? Everybody saying the same damn thing. Well, 2021, everything was fine. 2019, everything was fine. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. But everything ain't fine in 2025. Because she is dead. How about that? Combative, violent, whatever the problem was going on, the mother should have gotten help. You don't let it exacerbate to the point where the person is so combative, you're scared to deal with them and you're afraid to feed them or give them food or take them outside the house. She probably never went outside at some point. So now we got to ask that. How long was the girl locked up in that room to where the damn neighbors didn't even know a girl child lived there? What the fuck happened here? But like I said, you were getting that disability check. You didn't mind getting that. That's helping pay your bills some type of way. Ain't no telling how much the state of Texas was giving this mother for this disabled kid. Man, I'm sick of everybody.
Kind of felt a little emotional talking about. You've seen the photos, and you're not intentionally not. I'm not going to show those. You're not going to share those with us. Just describing this, it really gets to you seeing these photos and knowing that this was a 19-year-old girl.
Absolutely. As a father, our job is to protect our children. And, when a nonverbal daughter lays helplessly, you sort of wonder what was going through her mind, where she couldn't communicate or even share some of her pain or suffering to others so that she can get additional help.
And you described for us somewhat the some of the injuries. Kind of, you showed us on your arm. Could you kind of show some of the things you saw in the photos? Describe that for us again.
I don't remember specifically where. I was just pointing out on some, but I know that she was curled up and exposing on her right side, where she had, I know her shoulder bone was protruding out, and I know that she had some abrasions on her right leg, the way she was curled up.
This incident happened February 14th, which was 8 days ago. We're now hearing about it. Kind of, why did it take 8 days for the police to release anything? And what about 8 days?
Thank you.
During that time, we were interviewing teachers, students, neighbors, family members. We were trying to get an autopsy, and we were trying to figure out what was going on from the medical examiner on what their results were.
Oh, God.
We weren't sure if the victim had choked on something. On the affidavit states that the mother was feeding her goldfish. So at that time, we were unsure if what had happened at that time, and that led to her being deceased.
Could an earlier welfare check have changed the outcome of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
If someone would have noticed or would have been any concern about the child, they could have easily called 911. We would have responded and personally checked on the victim, and maybe we wouldn't be here if that would have happened.
You've been in this community for such a long time.
Too cool, please.
One of the most worst crimes you've seen in this community?
Be nice.
I don't know. It seems like it has affected you deeply.
It has affected me deeply. So as being public information officer for several years, we also worked a similar case where there was a child that occurred here in our city where the pastor thought that the child had demons. And so he went through the similar of not being fed and similar characteristics from the victim were also on the child. And so it did spark some.
Wait. Oh my goodness, I'm screaming inside. So the pastor thought, I'll starve the kid to make the demon come out. I'm not trying to laugh, everybody, because I am bewildered. I'm bewildered till I'm almost about to start crying because this is bullshit. Hey, devil, get out of there. Get out of there. I won't feed you. I'll be damned. Hey, you come out of there now. I ain't going to feed her. I ain't going to feed him. So I'm going to starve the kid to make the devil come out of the kid's body. Are y'all hearing this? Oh my goodness. So the mother who starved this kid, as I said, what is her defense going to be? I couldn't deal with her. She was combative. She would fight me. I try to make her food. I try to feed her. She throw it. Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. Okay.
Memories about that.
Any message to the community that you want to say? You know, if you see something like this, or how can the community help, or what can they do?
So it's important that the community and family members do communicate with each other, especially if there are some signs of neglect, or if there's also a suspicion that the person is not well. By all means, call 911, report that, I want to do a welfare check to make sure that this person is well. And we'll go and make contact with that person to make sure that they're physically and mentally well. And normally the person who calls 911 wants them to do a follow-up and say, what happened? Are they okay? Do I need to intervene? Do I need to come from out of state or from out of the city to check up on my family member or even friend?
I understand from our reporting that some of the neighbors did not know that there was a child in that home. It really, it's one thing to see something, say something when you're a neighbor, but really this is a sort of an inside situation, isn't it?
It's almost an isolated incident where the mother never left. We were told by several witnesses or character witnesses who were letting us know who the mother is. Everyone was saying that she was a great mother, always there, never left the house, was there literally 24 hours caring for her child. And the victim does have a sister. She is 19 years old also, or she's older, I think, by a year.
So we got another adult in the house.
On that, but she does have a sister.
Okay,
you
great.
said y'all were talking to teachers and interviewing people in this past week. What were teachers kind of saying? What can you reveal about, the background of this family, how the mother-daughter dynamic, how was that?
So they were praising the mom, where mom was very involved, was a very good person, said nothing but positive things about the mom and even the daughter. The daughter was a good student. We talked to several of the teachers and even students from middle school where she attended. And they said all the things that didn't raise any suspicion at all.
Okay, enough of this bullshit. Did the girl graduate from high school? Okay, that's what I want to hear. Did this 19-year-old graduate from high school? Because I see what's going on here. You all are going all around the mulberry bush and all the way back to 1911. Bring this story on up to 2025, please. Please bring it forward because you're going backwards. I don't want to hear about middle school. Did she finish high school? That's what people are going to want to know. She's 19. So people want to hear, did she finish high school? Who's the last person that saw her in a school? How did she look in the last school? So did she finish high school? How was her behavior in high school? What will a teacher tell us about high school since she's only 19? That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear about 2021, 2019. Sorry about that, everybody, buffering. I want to hear what the child was doing recently. Who saw the kid recently? Last time she was outside. You see, they had a picture of her lying in the bed. Why are you all showing us this picture? Because I got a feeling nobody was taking pictures of her. She wasn't on Facebook. She wasn't on IG. She's not doing things, going to amusement parks, circus, movies, doing normal things that young people do. That's what I want to hear. We need a timeline on how long she's been in this house, in this room, and not dealing with the outside world. That's what I want to hear.
Do we know where things went south? How did we get
exactly
to this point? Was there a fork in the road? Something happened? How did we get to this point?
At this time, I don't know.
So there were other family members living in the house. Were they aware of what was going on? Do you know?
Well, we know that they mentioned that they were met with aggression from the victim, especially since she was nonverbal. The great uncle and the grandmother who lived there would try to interact with the daughter. With the victim, but the daughter would sort of prevent them from communicating with the victim. She would always say, "Hey, I've got this," and from other witnesses about their character, she was independent. She wanted to take care of things. She didn't ask for help as much. There was food in the house.
Well, maybe she should have.
The house was in a good state, and there was no signs of starvation where there was food available.
Well, then how does she look like how she looked? You're not making sense.
The father's deceased.
What did you say to?
How is she emaciated, but there's food in the house? The house looks nice and neat and tidy. Okay, that doesn't mean anything to me. You've already said she was in bad state when paramedics, fire department got there. Bone protruding out. Gashes on her body. So it don't matter that there was food in the cupboards, in the refrigerator, in the freezer. That don't mean the food made it to her belly. Obviously not. Probably why she's not alive. She has not been eating. So it don't matter that there was food in the refrigerator. You can have food in the refrigerator, but that don't mean people in the house are getting the food. Hello? Have you heard of people chaining up the refrigerator and the freezers? You have people who get down like that. Measuring shit in the refrigerator, see how much tea, punch you drank. Oh yeah, Queen could tell you some stories. Possibly Path. And the mother not wanting anybody to interact, why? Why not? Maybe you needed a break. Obviously you needed a break because something went wrong here. So you don't even want to try to communicate with her. Well, you're doing all this on your own. What you were doing wasn't working, obviously. I don't know, I wasn't there. I'm really not trying to even say what the fuck went on here. But I know the girl's dead, that's it. So talking about the house looked nice and there was food in the refrigerator, Jesus was hanging on the wall. What? Who cares? That don't help the dead person. Oh, they had goldfish crackers. The mother was feeding her goldfish crackers. No, she was not. You can't feed a dead person nothing. Let's stop this nonsense. Then it took you a whole fucking week to arrest her because I got to do an autopsy and we had to talk to Pookie and Ray Ray and we had to talk to Bubba and we had to talk to the cafeteria lady. Man, I'm so damn pissed off right now I can scream. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. We had to go talk to everybody. Hell, did you call President Trump? You calling every damn body else? Hell, call Elon Musk, see what he has to say. Fuck. Man, I'm angry. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. I lost my place. I'm sick of this shit. I lost my damn place. I'm so damn angry. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. How did they get to that point? I don't know. Everything was fine in 2021. Oh, okay. Woo, Lord have mercy.
From out of state or from out of the city to check up on my family member or even friend.
I understand from our reporting that some of the neighbors did not know that there was a child in that home.
Delilah.
So it really, it's one thing to see something, say something.
Hey, Buffalo.
When you're a neighbor, but really, this is a sort of an inside situation, isn't it?
It's almost an isolated incident where the mother never left. We were told by several witnesses or character witnesses who were letting us know who the mother is. Everyone was saying that she was a great mother, always there, never left the house, was there literally 24 hours caring for her child. And the victim does have a sister. She is 19 years old also, or she's older, I think, by a year.
Where does she live?
But don't quote me on that. So, but she does have a sister.
When you said y'all were talking to teachers and interviewing people in this past week, what were teachers kind of saying? What can you reveal about, the background of this family, how the mother-daughter dynamic, how was that?
So they were praising the mom, where mom was very involved, was a very good person, said nothing but positive things about the mom and even the daughter. The daughter was a good student. We talked to several of the teachers and even students from middle school where she attended. And they said all the things that didn't raise any suspicion at all.
Middle school.
Do we know where things went south? How did we get to this point? Was there a fork in the road? Something happened? How did we get to this point?
At this time, I don't know.
So there were other family members living in the house. Were they? What was going on? Do we know?
Well, we know that they've mentioned that they were met with aggression from the victim, especially since she was nonverbal. The great uncle and the grandmother who lived there would try to interact with the daughter, with the victim, but the daughter would sort of prevent them from communicating with the victim. She would always say, "Hey, I've got this," and from other witnesses about their character, she was independent. She wanted to take care of things. She didn't ask for help as much. There was food in the house. There were snacks.
Easier to blame the victim.
The house was in a good state, and there was no signs of starvation where there was food available.
Where's the father?
The father's deceased.
But that's not true. She is starved.
What would you say to a parent who's taking care of a child that's disabled and is maybe becomes overwhelmed? When is it, it's never too late to reach out, I would ask you what you would say to those people.
Right. It's 2025. There are so many resources out there. There are people that are willing to help. There's assistance. Sometimes a phone call to a social worker, or sometimes even to the police department, where we're able to offer resources. Come to your local library. And if they don't have the ability to leave the house because they are taking care of their loved ones, by all means, call the non-emergency number. We'll show up and we'll be able to provide any resources that are available to help her and their loved ones.
And people are concerned when a child
Right.
may look like they've been abused or that has potentially been abused, but couldn't get to this point. I mean, there's one thing to be afraid that the CPS is going to take your kid. It's quite another to let them die.
Exactly. Exactly.
Our main focus is to make sure that everyone is safe, whether you're an adult, your child. We want to make sure that everyone has the ability and the resources to help loved ones. And don't let anyone discourage you that, CPS is going to come in and take my child away, or I'm going to get in trouble. Your main focus is to make sure that your loved ones are taken care of.
Do we know when the mom is being transferred to Dallas County?
I do not know. I know that the day that we arrested her, Dallas County Sheriff's Department was unable to pick her up because the van was full of men. And so they were trying to prevent that from...
Yeah, you all are awfully busy, these counties. Texas.
Okay. I also want to add, there were locks. You'll see on the affidavit, there were locks on the inside and outside. Even though there were locks on the house, even though there were locks at the door, anyone who was inside could leave. The reason why the locks were there was because they were trying to prevent from the victim becoming or getting aggressive towards other family members. And so to avoid any conflict, that's why the locks were placed on that door.
Were the door locked when you guys got there? They had to breach the door?
No, the door did not need to be breached, but I don't know if it was locked.
What are you saying?
It was in a closed position.
What the hell is he saying? The doors had locks on them.
Right. Thank you.
You're not making any sense. The doors had locks on them. What does that have to do with her? I don't understand what the fuck you're saying. So you saying they had extra locks on the door? Like the lock where you put the key in there so she couldn't get out? What are you saying? Once again, talking in fucking riddles. I give up, everybody. I'm too exhausted. Literally, I'm hungry. I can't think straight right now. Here's a picture of the young lady, Delilah. I don't understand nothing that has been said in this press conference. Welcome to the Vada Cell, everybody. 19-year-old nonverbal female, autistic, is no longer alive. Mother called 911. The child had been dead at least 6 hours already, 6 to 24 hours. Mother arrested 1 week later. Why? I don't know. He says they're doing an investigation, waiting on the autopsy, blah, blah, blah. And everybody says she's a nice lady, great mom, blah, blah, blah. But yet she's dead. If her bone is protruding through her skin, that means she was starved to death. So I don't really care that there was a bag of Doritos on top of the refrigerator and Cheerios and Apple Jacks and milk in the refrigerator and a pound of ground beef and tortillas were in the refrigerator. She's dead. So that means she wasn't eating. So at some point, this mother gave up, okay? She threw it. Maybe she knows Katie Proudfoot. I don't know. I'm just saying. Somebody gave up. I think that's obvious. Somebody gave up, somebody threw in the towel. And the fact that you want to tell us that 2 other people were living in the house and they seen her within weeks to a year, that's a hell of a stretch. Grandma says weeks. Great uncle says a year. So what is he, on dope? Help me understand. He's got dementia. Then you mention a sister, but you don't tell us if she lives in the house or not. Should have threw that in. Oh, yeah, she's got an older sister, but she lives in the house. She don't live in the house. She's in college, blah, 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 military. Tell us something. Just leaving shit open-ended. Oh, she's a great mom. We did a welfare check in 21. Everything was all right. Well, everything ain't all right now. She's dead. And mama is locked up. Checkmate. So, Chief, you're going to have to spin this story a different way. As the reporter said, well, how did we get to this? Exactly. How did we get to this? How did we get to this? A vigil has been held outside of the home, everybody, one day ago. This content was uploaded February 23rd, 2025, 2 p.m.
Earlier, new information on a troubling story. This is out of Balch Springs. A mother behind bars now charged in the death of her teenage autistic daughter. Police say they found that teenager malnourished in deplorable conditions in the family's home. Our Don White with tonight's story.
What investigators found inside of that home has neighbors here in shock. Police say they found the teen dead with sores and bones protruding all over her body. A small memorial and a sense of sadness remain outside the home where 19-year-old Delilah Villegas died.
I'm pretty shocked because our neighborhood's kind of quiet right now. So having something like that close to home is crazy.
Look at all the cameras.
Gomez has lived in the neighborhood on Horseshoe Trail in Balch Springs for years.
We never saw the girl come out. If you didn't live over here for a while, you would never know that she was there.
Balch Springs police say they found Delilah, who has autism and is nonverbal, dead inside the home on February 14th. Investigators say her mom, Crystal Canales, called 911 to report Delilah was having trouble breathing. Officers smelled something foul coming from the teen's bedroom and then found her dead in a near fetal position.
They thought she was probably 13 and didn't realize she was 19 years old. It was, as described, skin to bone. There was large lacerations exposing decaying limbs.
According to the affidavit of probable cause, they found a deadbolt and lock on the teen's bedroom door and believe she had been dead for 6 to 24 hours.
Thank you.
She looked
deadbolt on the door,
like she was in a mummified, in a mummy state of on the floor.
The girl's mother is charged with injury to a disabled individual, a second-degree felony. We spoke to a woman who didn't want to show her face on camera. She says her daughter went to school with Delilah. She sent us these pictures and a video saying they're of Delilah, who she hasn't seen since 2020.
I hope she can rest in peace, because nobody deserves to be in suffering like that.
Investigators say Delilah's grandmother and great uncle also live inside the home. The grandmother claims to not have seen her in a few weeks, while the great uncle told police he hasn't seen her in a year, even though they all live in the same home. The two don't face any charges at this time. In Balch Springs, Dawn White, CBS News, Texas.
All right, so these people are lying.
They are in the map.
These people are lying. I don't know what their ages are, but the mother is 41. So give or take, these people are at least 20 years older than her, unless mama had her when she was 12. But you see where I'm going. This is a bunch of bullshit. These people are lying, and I don't really care for the mother either. All of these people are in cahoots together, and that's how I feel. You see, the chief was talking in circles about the locks on the door. He kept saying, well, they could get out. Okay. You see, this report is different than whatever he was saying. That's why I asked the question. Well, where were the locks? What are you trying to say? The deadbolts were on her door. her bedroom door. Chief, you didn't say that. You didn't say there were deadbolts on her door. You said, oh, they can get out. So we were sitting here thinking, well, you're talking about other locks on the door from the inside. I thought maybe she put extra locks on the door so the girl wouldn't run out. But now we have to use deduction. Okay, still, in case there's a fire or something happened, the person needs to be able to get out. She's autistic, she can't talk. If she smells smoke and she wanted to try to get out, how would she get to safety? She can't talk. She would panic. The other people, they need to be able to get out. But now we got more information from this source here. Oh, there was a deadbolt on the door. How about that? So you had her locked in her room. So now the plot thickens. So we got a combative autistic person who's acting out, starved to death to get their food in the house, and now we got a deadbolt on the door, which means you just put her in that room and locked the door and kept it fucking moving. That's what it looks like to me. All that don't mean nothing because we're at 2025 and we got a whole dead person here who had lacerations on their body, starved to death. So help us understand why your child is dead and hasn't been fed and laid in that room for at least 6 hours to 24 hours before you called 911. But you're a good mother. You want to do things on your own. She was independent. And we got two other little liars playing possum. Oh, I ain't seen her. I ain't seen her in a year. I ain't seen her in a couple of weeks. Well, where y'all think she was? On vacation? Where was she, Dubai? A small memorial and a sense of sadness remain outside the Balch Springs home where Delilah Villegas, 19-year-old with autism, was found dead on Valentine's Day. Neighbor Denise Gomez, who knew the young woman, says she feels crushed over what happened. I'm pretty shocked because our neighborhood is kind of quiet right now. So having something like that close to home is crazy, Gomez said. Having lived in the neighborhood on Horseshoe Trail for years, Gomez said, we never saw the girl come out. If you didn't live over here for a while, you would never know that she was there. And I'm assuming that's the young lady you heard speaking in this video. According to the affidavit of probable cause, police found a deadbolt and lock on the teen's bedroom door. Chief, you talking in circles. You did not say it was on the girl's door. You were saying a door and they could get out. I didn't know which door you were talking about. The affidavit also reveals Villegas' grandmother claimed to not have seen her in several weeks, and the teen's great-uncle told police he hadn't seen her in a year, even though they all lived in the same home. I hope she can rest in peace because nobody deserves to be suffering like that, Gomez said. CBS News Texas spoke to a woman who said her daughter went to school with Villegas. The woman said she often saw Villegas from 2014 to 2020, but hadn't seen her in nearly 5 years and assumed the family had moved. So we're talking about years ago, this woman last saw her in school with her kid. So you mean to tell me she hasn't finished high school? And nobody inquired about why she didn't finish school if she didn't finish school? Help me understand. On Friday, Balch Springs police arrested Crystal Canales, Villegas' mother, and took her to the Balch Springs jail where she's awaiting transfer to the Dallas County Jail. What happened to Delilah Villegas? February 14, 2:33 p.m. Balch Springs police responded to a 911 call from Canales who reported her daughter was having difficulty breathing. When officers arrived, they detected a strong foul odor from Villegas' bedroom and found her dead in a near fetal position. Medical personnel confirmed the absence of vital signs and determined that Villegas had been dead for at least 6 and possibly up to 24 hours. However, Canales claimed Villegas was breathing before first responders arrived and had eaten a handful of goldfish crackers earlier in the day. The Criminal Investigations Division responded to the scene, and after close examination, authorities discovered signs of severe malnutrition, multiple wounds, and exposed bones on the victim's body. Detectives concluded that Canales' failure to seek medical care for her daughter likely constituted reckless conduct, leading to serious bodily injury to a disabled person, a second-degree felony. a younger Delilah. Pretty girl. Looks healthy there. Does not look malnourished there. But I'm sure this picture is years ago. Don't know the year. But I think a neighbor, somebody produced this picture. What happened to Delilah? Somebody help me understand. What happened to this girl child? No matter what was going on with Delilah and her mental disability, she was expected to be taken care of. And as I said before in my Sebastian Rogers videos, that it is a hard job to take care of disabled children depending on their disability. Also disabled adults as well. Everybody's not cut out to take care of autistic adults, children, and or mentally disabled individuals. You have to be cut from a certain cloth to be able to do that type of work in general. Group home work, and also private care, and also take care of the person as a relative, friend, whichsoever. If indeed the child had become combative, the mother should have reached out to the appropriate resources and got her child placed somewhere. She should have forfeited the check and said, I can no longer do this. I love my kid, but I'm just not mentally. Assuming she was also taking care of these other adults. They're living in the house. I don't know if they're able-bodied. They could move around. But one thing I do know, they're lying. And where there are lies, more lies, I have a problem with that. Because the mother knew the girl was dead because she smelled. And that means all of you smelled her. So how are you all going to say you didn't know she was in there and her body's decomposing? Let's stop this nonsense. And you got to be ashamed of yourself lying to authorities when they're telling you the girl's been dead. And they smelled the stench when they got to the house. But yet you're in there with the stench, but you don't smell anything. And you don't know she's in there. And you're thinking she's been gone. So we got two different versions. Oh, she's been gone some weeks. Oh, she's been gone a year. But yet she's stinking up the house. Locks on her doors. Probably banging, wanting out. Just because she can't talk don't mean she can't grab the lock, can't grab the door handles. So it's no telling what was going on in there. She probably was in there throwing herself around, banging against stuff. Mother probably going in there, putting her hands on her. And for all we know, other people could have went in there, put their hands on her. See, we don't even know the state of the other two adults that were living in the house. We don't know if anybody else was coming in the house, staying in the house. This house held secrets like so many other houses in America. And finally, the mother had no choice but to call 911. She wasn't about to dispose of the body, bury the body. She had to go ahead and call. But she had to have known they were going to ring her up because the child had rigor mortis. So you're sitting here talking about she had fish crackers. Oh, that's all she had for that day to eat? Were goldfish crackers? Got to do better than that, sister. And now you're incarcerated. All on a lie. Lies. Did the girl finish high school? Number one. How long has she been locked in that room? How long has she had locks on the door? When was the last time the girl went outside, went to the movies, went to church, went to a function? When was the last time a family member came to the house? When was the last time a family member saw her visibly and healthy? When was the last time somebody saw her visibly unhealthy? Who all knows the secret about Delilah? I say 3 so far. Now, where's this other sister? Where does she live? Has she been to the house recently? Has she seen the child? Do people ask about her? Hey, you're not showing any pictures. Was the mother visibly on Facebook, IG, Snapchat, TikTok? Were people asking, hey, where's your daughter? Where's your daughter? When was the last time the mother took a picture of the daughter? Checkmate. See, all those things are relevant. When was the last time she went to the doctor? Bingo card. I'm woke. Are you all woke? See, all those little things are going to matter. While the chief is running around talking to people that went to grade school with her, why don't you ask when the last time she went to the doctor? Who's her physician? Where did she go get medical care? When was the last time somebody weighed her? Got her eyes checked, got her teeth checked? What's the state of the people living in the house? Are they mentally equipped upstairs? Or are they helping covering up this lie alongside the mother? I say they are. Because you know damn well they knew she was in that room. They knew there were locks on the doors. They probably heard her in there banging around, moaning and groaning, and nobody did nothing. And it don't matter about who the mother was 2 years ago, 4 years ago. The point is, she has a dead daughter, and she was a provider for her. And other adults were in there, and they had knowledge of this kid being mistreated, starved. You all are guilty as well. And they need to be arrested. And I don't give a fuck if they're 60, if they're 80. I don't care. You ride the ride, you take the charge. And anybody else that had knowledge that that girl was in there locked up and immobile, starving, your ass is guilty too. That's my commentary. Please check out my earlier live streams pertaining to Sebastian Rogers. On Wednesday, there will be an interview released to the public of Katie Proudfoot speaking on the anniversary of the disappearance of her son. And also, I played you content from a couple months ago where Sheriff Craddock says he has information pertaining to the case, but he cannot reveal it as not to prejudice the case. What is that said information? Please check out those last two live streams. Very well, in-depth discussions pertaining to Sebastian Rogers. Did he make it home with his mother on February 25th, 2024? If not, where did they go? Is he alive? Is he deceased? Who's all involved in the disappearance of that said child? And once again, allegations of CPS reports, child abuse, another case that slipped through the cracks, and now we have a whole missing kid. And then you mosey on over here to Texas. We have a child curled up in a fetal position, laid in that room to where the outline of her body was on the concrete. Checkmate. Wellness check 2021. Why? See, there's always a report, if you've noticed, in all these cases. Somebody called DHS. Somebody saw something, somebody heard something, and then boom, 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 down the road, years later, here comes a dead body, here comes a severely malnourished kid, beat up kid, missing kid, injured kid, when somebody knew and saw something all along, such as you heard the aunt saying earlier, I thought something was off. Well, why didn't you call CPS? Why didn't you say something to the mother? Hey, what's going on with your kid? And I'd like to know, when did she last see the kid? Because during her interview, she doesn't mention when she last saw the kid. She's talking about when somebody else last saw the kid. And I need to know, is she close to the mother? Do they have a relationship? Do they talk on Facebook? Do they message? Do they call each other directly? See, you need to know all those things. That's how you get to the bottom of the truth. See, everybody is a day late, dollar short on their information. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Well, how's that going to help Delilah? She's dead now. She's dead. She's not coming back. So whatever you thought about her, her life, the mother, it's over with now. She's gone. So talking about she's in heaven with your brother and all that old type of nonsense, man, miss me with all that. What difference does it make? She's in heaven. Well, she could be here on earth had somebody cared. How about that? Just like right now, I'm going to whisper because I don't want somebody to hear my conversation. I'm smelling a strong odor coming from someone's door right now. And it's because they are a disabled person living in an apartment and they don't need to be there. And they've got a mother help cleaning their apartment. And she's been over there for days helping to clean because it smells so damn bad. And I could tell you, when I came home tonight from shopping, I could smell urine from under the door. Do you all understand what I'm trying to say to you? Some people cannot live on their own. And there are people who are not willing to take care of them. Okay? This is why a lot of disabled adults are on their own, because their families don't want to take care of them. And the rest of us have to live around them, knowing they have no business having a key to a door. And I can tell you, when I came home tonight, the stench was bad. And I can smell cleaning products right now as I'm doing this live stream to where it's about to blow me out of my chair. And I'm trying to figure out, how much cleaning do you need to do? You were just there last week. So you know it's bad, right? That's the point I've been trying to make in my commentary about Sebastian Rogers. In this case, there are people who need help, and they fall between the cracks because people want to continue getting their checks. People want to turn a blind eye. People don't want to be responsible for them. And I can say about this person that's living near me, they don't have any business living on their own, although they are an adult, but they are a disabled adult, and they can't take care of themselves because they don't have the fortitude to say, hey, I need to wash my tail, brush my teeth, wash my hair, get a haircut, take a bath, clean my bathroom, clean my house, wash my dishes, vacuum. Now, how this woman raised this boy child, I don't know, but he obviously can't, or he refuses to do it. That means he does not need to be living on his own in an apartment. And that's what people need to come to the realization, that there are places that you can place disabled adults who cannot take care of themselves. And he's another one that's always leaving key in the door. So it's only a matter of time the wrong person comes by and sees that key in the door, they're going to let themselves right on in, push the door open, and do God knows what. And I've already let it be known, hey, don't nobody come asking me nothing because I'm fed up. And there just comes a point when you just get tired of babysitting people and babysitting situations to where it's time for everybody to grow up. Because that's the only time people come around is when something bad happens. Hey, ma'am, did you hear about what happened? Hey, ma'am, do you know what's going on over here? And the next thing you know, I got to go to court and testify what I've seen and heard. I'm like, hell no, I ain't got time for this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. People turning a blind eye. People just don't want to be bothered with disabled people. It's just the way it is. So they pray that other people will step in and babysit. But you can't expect other people to do your job. It doesn't work like that. The tragic tale of a child falling in the cracks, and now she's gone. And her mother's currently in jail. And she needs to be there because she should have got help. And the other two relatives, the grandmother and the uncle, you all are trifling too because you knew she was in there. And now you're lying to authorities acting like you didn't know she was in there. So you all need to be arrested too. And anybody else that was in that house and knew that that girl was locked in that room and starving, your ass need to go down as well. That's my commentary, everybody. You've been listening to live number 3. Please check out my earlier 2 lives pertaining to Sebastian Rogers. I will be back with an update on Wednesday to talk about the interview with Miss Proudfoot, and we will go from there. Like, share, subscribe. Give me your commentary. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeAngie129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you all for joining me. Prayers for our children because they need our prayers. Prayers for any child that is going through what Delilah has been going through. Sebastian Rogers, the 3 children in Pontiac. Any child that's being starved, abused, neglected. Prayers that they can get the fortitude to say, I want out of here. And if that means running out of their house to get help, then so be it. You run, baby. You go get help. Because your life matters. No child should be subjected to physical or mental abuse. Starved, ridiculed, locked in a room, without heat, water, air conditioning. Love. We all need love. Thank you for your time. You've been listening to the Vault XL.